Analyzing and interpreting nonfiction, review and practice, style, tone, mood, point of view, and text connections. Tone is the author's attitude about his or her subject or character. Mood is the feeling of the story, how the reader feels. Point of view. First person. The narrator is a character in the story. Pronouns I, me, my. Second person. The story is told from the perspective you. Pronouns you, your. Third person limited. The narrator tells the story from the perspective of one character. Pronouns he, she, they, and it. Third person omniscient. The narrator knows it all, a godlike narrator. Pronouns he, she, they, it. Style. Style is the way an author writes. Word choice, sentence structure, tone, formal, conversational, etc. all make up the style. They're choices that the author makes. Text connections. The way a reader relates to a text. Text to self, text to world, text to text. Compare and contrast. A Venn diagram can help you make comparisons and contrasts between two texts, two items, or two ideas. You might want to create one sphere where you can put all of the information about a specific text, for example, or an idea, for example, like an apple. And then you might want to have another bubble where you list all of the information about another text or another idea or another item like an orange, and the part of the circles that overlap, that's where you'll put what's alike, what's similar, the comparisons that you can make between the two objects or two texts. There are a lot of clue words that can help you figure out what is being compared and contrasted. You can use these in writing, or you may see them in a text that will lead you to the comparisons and the contrasts. Let's do some review and practice. Chapter 1, underway. My first trip from California to Alaska was made in the summer of 1899. I went alone to Dawson to my father and brother, surprising them greatly when I quietly walked up to shake hands with them at their work. The amazement of my father knew no bounds, and yet I could see a lot of quiet amusement beneath all when he introduced me to his friends, which plainly said, "Here is my venturesome daughter, who is really a chip off the old block. So you must not be surprised at her coming to Alaska." Father had gone to the Klondike a year before at the age of 64, climbing Chilkoot Pass in the primitive way and running Miles Canyon and White Horse Rapids in a small boat which came near being swamped in the passage. Practice question 1. The author's writing style is best described as A. Poetic, B. Personal, C. Opinionated, D. Academic. Did you get it right? B. Personal. The first-person point of view makes the style more personal and emotional. Practice question number 2. I could see a lot of quiet amusement beneath all when he introduced me to his friends. Here is my venturesome daughter, who is really a chip off the old block. What inference can you make from the comparison of these two fragments? A. The father is leaving his daughter. B. The father is proud of his daughter. C. The father is ashamed of his daughter. D. The father is going to get his daughter a job. Did you get it right? B. The father is proud of his daughter. The words quiet amusement and the fact that the father introduces his daughter to friends as well as his reference to her as a chip off the old block show that the father is proud of his daughter. My brother's entrance to the famous gold fields was made in the same dangerous manner a year before, but I had waited until trains over the White Pass and Yukon Railroad had been crossing the mountains daily for 2 weeks before myself attempting to get into Alaska's interior. At that time it was only a 3 hours' ride, including stops, over the pass to Lake Bennett. The terminus of this new railroad, the first in Alaska, a couple of rude open flat cars with springless seats along the sides were all the accommodation we had as passengers from the summit of White Pass to Lake Bennett. We, having paid handsomely for the privilege of riding in this manner, and thinking ourselves fortunate, considering the fact that our route was, during the entire distance of about 45 miles, strewn with the bleaching bones of earlier Argonauts and their beasts of burden. Practice question number 3. What is the tone of this passage? A. Apathetic. B. Cautious. C. Reflective. D. Objective. Did you get it right? C. Reflective. The reader knows that this section of the passage occurred in the past by the tense the author uses in her writing, as well as the mention of the setting, at that time. The reader can infer a contrast between the fortunate feelings the passengers had at the time of their journey, and the reality of the treacherous environment in which they traveled, which was strewn with the bleaching bones of Argonauts. Naturally, my traveling companions interested me exceedingly. There were few women; 2 ladies with their husbands were going to Dawson on business. About 8 or 10 other women belonging to the rapid class of individuals journeyed at the same time. We had all nationalities and classes. There were 2 women from Europe with luggage covered with foreign stickers, and a spoken jargon which was neither German nor French, but sounded like a clever admixture of both. Practice question number 4. What is the effect of point of view on the tone of this passage? A. The first person point of view shows the author's internal feelings and emotions about the women. B. The second person point of view connects the reader to the other characters in the story. C. The third person point of view provides the reader with clear, objective facts. D. The first person point of view clearly shows how frustrated and nervous the speaker is during her journey. Did you get it right? D. The first person point of view shows the author's internal feelings and emotions about the women. The first person point of view allows readers to know what the narrator is thinking and feeling. Then there was the woman who went by the name of Mrs. Somebody or other, who wore a sealskin coat, diamond earrings, and silver-mounted umbrella. She had been placed in the same stateroom with me on the steamer at Seattle, and upon making her preparations to retire for the night had offered me a glass of brandy, while imbibing one herself, which I energetically, though politely, refused. At midnight a second woman of the same caste had been ushered into my room to occupy the third and last berth. Whereupon next morning I had waited upon the purser of the ship, and modestly, but firmly, requested a change of location. In a gentlemanly way he informed me that the only vacant stateroom was a small one next to the engine room below, but if I could endure the noise and wished to take it, I could do so. I preferred the proximity and roar of machinery along with closer quarters to the company of the 2 adventuresses, so while both women slept late next morning, I quietly and thankfully moved all my belongings below. Here I enjoyed the luxury of a room by myself for 48 hours, or until we reached Skagway, completely oblivious to the fact that never for one instant did the pounding of the great engines 8 feet distant cease either day or night. Practice question number 5. What is the tone of this passage? A. Apathetic. B. Dramatic. C. Objective. D. Opinionated. Did you get it right? D. Opinionated. The narrator has strong opinions about both her riding companions and the environment in which she is traveling. She doesn't want to stay in the room with the women, and modestly but firmly requested to be moved. Afterwards she expresses her contentment about the whir of the machinery. Do you have any questions on style, tone, mood, point of view, or text connections?